approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
I've been looking for words to describe this week, and nothing seems to work better than shit show, except maybe irony. We'll get back to that. As you heard, Trump pardoned 1,500 criminals who attacked the Capitol with this message.
So this is January 6th. These are the hostages.
Hostages. That's almost funny. These hostages sent 100 cops to the hospital and were convicted by juries and sentenced by judges while they broke into the Capitol and screamed this.
You know what? I'm hearing the Pence just caved.
No.
Is that true?
I didn't.
I'm hearing reports that Pence caved.
No
I'm
way.
telling you, if Pence caved, we're gonna drag through the streets.
But that was then. While Trump and his hillbilly militia attacked the Capitol, the nation gasped. And immediately afterwards, you saw this.
Last week's violent attack on the Capitol was undemocratic, un-American, and criminal.
My view of what happened January the 6th, and we're here. We saw what happened. It was a violent insurrection.
What happened since then, and how did we get to a second Trump inauguration? Good question, and we'll get to that in a second. But first, you want to know why Biden pardoned so many like Cheney and Fauci? Well, here's the irony. The world has never had this kind of access to information in all of human history. I can ask my phone, what time is it in Barcelona, the square root of 1117, or how did Newton invent calculus? But instead, the top 3 Google Siri requests in the last month were, what TV show should I watch? Is Ryan Reynolds single? And how can I watch the Kardashians on my phone?
Everybody's laughing at America.
That explains a lot, and maybe why 100 million eligible Americans didn't vote. But even more so, it might explain this.
But it was just make-believe stuff, and there were a lot of make-believe stories made up. So rather than suffer the wrath, like the story with Nancy Pelosi, I offered her 10,000 soldiers. She knows it. She admitted it on tape that her daughter made. She's a videographer or whatever you call her, which I'm glad she is. Oh, she can't be in good stead with Nancy. But Nancy said it was my responsibility as she's leaving the Capitol. She said it was, and it was. She's in charge of security at the Capitol. But I offered them up to 10,000 soldiers, even more. One time I said more, as many as you need. But you needed 400 or 500. If 4 or 5, you 10,000, that would be more than the number of people there by lot. But we offered her 10,000. Think of it, 10,000 soldiers. In other words, J6 wouldn't be J6. There would have been no J6. But she rebuffed them. She didn't like it. No, she didn't like it. Maybe she wanted that to happen. But she's guilty as hell. And now we would have to go through the process because they destroyed all evidence. They deleted everything.
Before we comment on what Trump said, can you hear the fatigue in his voice? His mental decline is more obvious every day and ominous.
Love of Christ, the stories of the Holy Bible, and the voices of famed evangelical.
Okay, if you search Google and ask if Pelosi is really responsible for the security of the Capitol, you'll get this. No. Weeks after a mob of Trump supporters attacked the Capitol on January the 6th, 2021, the First Lady said she had done what she could before the event to make sure the building was protected. Trump claims he offered then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi thousands of National Guard troops to surround the building, but she declined. That didn't happen, and there's no transcript, phone records, or witnesses. It was a lie. Multiple media organizations, including Fox News, concluded that Trump never made such an offer, and Pelosi never rejected it, as Tiny Fingers claims. Even Trump's military leadership has confirmed there was no formal offer made. And this version of events is supported by Trump's Department of Defense memos on planning and execution of Capitol security on that day. There are numerous sources to check, or you could go to Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, and a few right-wing talk show hosts who will confirm the lie.
I will eat your ass!
And here's the problem. Americans are not only stupid, but they're lazy. If you're MAGA and you want the truth, look around. You can find it. But it ain't the truth they're after.
I think he's a kook.
I think he's uninformed.
Here's why I'm with Trump.
There are 2 paths a person can follow: information and confirmation. Information is work. Take evolution. Explaining it requires a certain level of intelligence, as does understanding it.
At one time, science said man came from apes. Did it not? That's when you go to the science.
Every time I read or hear that, I think to myself, you just didn't read the same Bible I did.
Well, this was interesting, though. If that is true, why are there still apes?
That's Herschel Walker. He hit his head a lot playing football, but this isn't CTE. Proving evolution is like proving the hands of a clock are moving. They move so slow, they're almost imperceptible. But look later on, and they definitely have moved. And like the hands of a clock, science has evolved after centuries, and we're still learning. Information is work. Knowledge is work. Confirmation, though, is Fox News allowing Trump to repeat lie after lie without challenging him because it makes them feel good. It makes them feel like winners.
Well, don't you love me?
Here's a great example.
Sorry, I gotta take a moment here. You're saying that in California you can kill a newborn baby up to 4 weeks until after it's born?
Absolutely.
That's not true.
That is true.
That's not true.
That's the law in the last year or two.
That is not true. That's not true.
You need to go do your research.
100% not true.
You need to do your research.
Where did you read that? Be honest.
National news media.
Now, you and I might look at this guy on the street and he looks normal. So why would he come to this conclusion? The fact-checking at the end of the debate upset many because they thought it was unfair that Trump fact-checked more than Harris. They don't care that he lied because he's their horse in their race to win. But now that they've won, what now?
They have abortion in the 9th month.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
The events of January 6th remind me of Mark Twain when he said, "It's not what you don't know that hurts you, it's what you know for sure that just ain't so." And that's what happened.
They deleted all the information on Nancy Pelosi having turned down the offer of 10,000 soldiers.
When Trump says the election was rigged, he's all alone. 60 court cases, his own Justice Department, even his own daughter said bullshit.
And it was being laid out there, and I told them that it was crazy stuff, and they were wasting their time on that, and it was doing a grave disservice to the country.
That affect your perspective about the election when Attorney General Barr made that statement?
It affected my perspective. I respect Attorney General Barr, so I accepted what he was saying.
So we find ourselves again asking the question, why does MAGA believe him? And why do these people lie for him?
This was a threat to our democracy in a way that we had not seen. And it manifested itself because of Donald Trump's inability to say. He is still saying he didn't lose the election. I would just ask that. Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future.
You know he knows, but he's afraid of contradicting Trump. And when enough of these idiots lie for Trump, it causes the base to question everything else.
To weaponize DOJ, FBI, CIA against President Trump with zero evidence, zero convictions, because they're even manufacturing crimes against, they're manufacturing, they're trying to make up evidence.
The trouble with truth is it can be mangled into a lie almost effortlessly. Take COVID.
It is going to disappear. It's going to disappear. I still say it would go away without the vaccine, George.
When Trump said COVID would just disappear, and it didn't, well, he doubled down on the lie and blamed China for creating it and spreading it. And since we don't fully know its origins, whether it was a wet market or a lab mistake or bioengineered, Trump seized on that confusion and doubled down on China so we would forget his dangerous and ignorant rants and blame the Chinese. And when the CDC recommended masks and MAGA refused, a worldwide pandemic was somehow the Democrats' fault.
I don't wear a mask for the same reason I don't wear underwear. Things gotta breathe.
So as Trump continues to deny that he lost in 2020 and calls the insurrectionists hostages while he releases them back into the world, Republicans are starting to deny events that we know occurred.
90% of the time, I have no idea what the I'm talking about.
That's some psycho shit right there, and that makes the country weaker and more vulnerable. And to bring it all home, this was Putin's plan all along. His interference in the 2016 election led to Trump's electoral win, and now we find ourselves with a sociopath wannabe oligarch pretending to be president, but instead creating billions for himself through crypto and using the office to learn big tech eunuchs looking for their chance to be the first trillionaire. Nancy Pelosi's not worried about Donald Trump. She's not your typical grandma. She's tougher than the Pillsbury Doughboy by a factor of 10.
Oh, he comes, I'm going to punch him out. This is my moment. I would pay I've been waiting for this, for trespassing on the Capitol grounds. I'm going to punch him out and I'm going to go to jail.
Yep, Nancy Pelosi's a badass, and one-on-one she could decimate the First Lady. She stood up to Biden, and now she'll stand up to Trump. But here's the truth. It's that time. Time we stood up for ourselves.
Goddamn right.
Trust me.
Shut the fuck up, Darren.
Who's with me?
Oh, yeah, the lie.
Indictable.
Out of sheer morbid curiosity, I'm allowing this freak show to continue.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
They're eating the dogs.
You're an idiot.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.